I wish to start this video with a disclaimer, and actually I will add two disclaimers. Firstly, I'm a psychic and I can feel your energy while you're watching. I know that YouTube right now is searching my audience, and I understand that some of the viewers, actually the majority of the viewers at this point, are against everything I'm saying. I don't know, the energy feels very restrictive. It feels very protective, very defensive, very defensive. And I understand that my opinions might challenge you, and is something that can happen where you are watching a new person for the first time coming with certain ideas that are new to you. I can see how you can get on an energy of being maybe suspicious, maybe being a little bit defensive and feeling challenged at the same time. But please note that in order to make an opinion, it won't help you just by being defensive. It will help you by watching other content that I'm producing. Secondly, the main disclaimer that I want to put here is that everything I'm sharing on this channel and in this video is based on my own experiences and opinions. I'm not using books or text or not even the Bible, although I will need to quote it today. I'm not using other people's thoughts to express my own opinion. This is something that I've noticed by watching so many debates on social media, especially on YouTube, in between Christians and non-Christians, in between atheists and Christians. They are coming with the same conclusions, they are coming with the same thought patterns, they are coming with the same questions like, okay, if God is real, why there is so much pain? Well, ask yourself, do that exercise of self-reflection. On the other side, Christians are coming with the Bible, no, the God said. And so there is this lack of trust in self when it comes to being opinionated. And maybe if there is anything that I wish to instill aside of love for yourself and for your light, is to use your critical thinking. Be an independent thinker. Be a free thinker. Stop using quotes from other people. Stop using the books to formulate your own opinions. Reflect on yourself. Be objective with yourself and notice the patterns. In the context of understanding why God cannot be found in any form of religious system, such as Christianity, we need to look not very far away. We need to look at the light energy and what light energy truly means. Because right now we have the tendency to mirror a lot of our personalities and personal traits and understandings as humans onto God. And this is where we are doing many mistakes. Because first of all, yes, we are light beings. And yes, we were created in the image of God. And this is where the confusion starts, because we assume that since we were created by God in its own image, this means that our fears are God's fears, our frustrations are God's frustrations, and whatever else we feel and are just emotions or thought patterns that are negative, God can have them as well. Well, no, this is very wrong, because you see, even with the mirroring, even with the fact that we are light beings, we don't create souls, we don't create consciousness, we don't create planets, we don't create an entire physical universe. Why so, you might ask? If we are the same as the divine, why we are not able to create an entire physical universe? And don't say that, oh, because God is God. No, God is God with a reason. God is God because she mastered his own energy. He mastered his own experiences and challenges when it was a consciousness in development. God didn't create us as poor souls who are incapable and will never be able to grow further than where we are right now. No, God created us with full power and capacity to grow as further as we want. But this implies mastering our light, mastering our energy, learning how to use our light when we are being challenged in it. And so adding attributes like frustration, fear, judgment, authority onto God, it takes away actually his power. Because in order to create life and physicality, you need a great amount of life force. And life force can be affected by low vibrational energies such as fears, frustration, disappointment. Think about your daily life. When you are frustrated, when you are disappointed, when you are sad, when you are scared, this affects your life force. This affects your physical health as a result of that as well. And so how do you think that God is almighty, can create the whole physicality while still retaining those energies? It cannot, because the God from the Bible or Christianity or religion is not the real God. If God would have those attributes, it would not be God anymore. It would not have the capacity to create anything anymore, because his life force would be affected by those energies. When you are scared or fearful, your consciousness is influenced, your sense of clarity and direction, your perspective is being influenced by those energies, because everything that you are thinking, feeling, intending, everything holds energy. And we make all this magical fantasy world around spirituality, when spirituality is very simple and very basic. You don't have to seek it anywhere but around you and within yourself. Your thoughts, your emotions is nothing woo. Your thoughts, your emotions, your the way that you express yourself, your intentions, your actions, they all hold energy. And that energy is being retained into your energetic space. And after this lifetime, you carry that data, that information with you onto the next one or onto other experiences your soul might have. And so while we are created in the image of God, we are not created with, we are not being given the wisdom that God has, simply because it's not possible. Even if God would say that, oh, okay, I want to create this soul and I want to infuse it with all the wisdom I'm currently having, it's not possible, because it's not how it works. There is like, think about brain and how our neurons work. There is a correlation in between the information you have, hence why healing is feels so complicated, which is not. Realistically, is the difficult part is the reprogramming after we healed, but healing feels so difficult, everything feels so difficult. Once we have memorized something, we need to replace it with something else. It's a link of data. And so God cannot put everything he knows, she knows, onto a new created soul and say, oh, well, here you have it. It's not how it works, unfortunately. Is one of the reasons Earth exists and other planets exist, so we can learn to master our own light. So we cannot compare the God from the Bible with a real God, because the God from the Bible would never have the capacity to create anything. It doesn't have enough life force for it. It just doesn't have enough life force for it. And as I mentioned earlier, life force can be influenced by these low vibrational energies. And I will try to mention a few things that I have researched here about why, I mean, it's not possible. All sorts of excuses we give to the biblical God are just excuses, such as the prophet Elisha, that was mocked by a group of youth who called God, who called him boldly, and Elisha curses them in the name of Lord, and God immediately sends bears out of the woods to maul 42 of the children. I mean, this is in the 2 Kings 2:23. I feel like I don't even have to cite from the Bible to make the point very obvious. What type of light being that has such an immense life force to create the entire physicality would do such thing? It's not. This is the ego of people who created the Bible. The Bible and spirituality was our understanding of spirituality firstly shaped when our consciousness was very archaic, and nowadays with a consciousness that is developed and more aware and on a different level, we still try to force ourselves to fit the narrative of people from thousands of years ago. And it's not working, and that's why we need to find all sorts of excuses. No, this is a metaphor. No, it's not. Let's face it as it is. And it's as simple as I mentioned. Life force cannot be affected by a negative energy, and then we can and say that, oh, is God. No, it's not how it works. If we affect our life force, we affect our health. We as humans, we cannot also project our own temperaments here as humans and what is happening with us as humans onto God, simply because we are not yet masters of our own light. We are still in process. And so just because God created us into his image doesn't necessarily mean that we have the same wisdom, and we need that wisdom and mastery in order to create life, in order to create planets and physicality, and we are not there. So, and the God from the Bible is not there either. It's even further away from us humans. We as humans have more morals and laws right now than that God had. But as I mentioned, this mirroring aspect, we protect our limiting beliefs and our system beliefs. And it goes back into what I mentioned at the beginning. We don't trust in ourselves. We give our power away towards any text, someone else who was publicized, someone else who said something else, because we are too scared of taking that responsibility of saying the thing that we are thinking that is not influenced by someone or something else. In my spiritual journey, I have never read a spiritual book. Every information I have learned, it was through my experience. So everything I'm sharing is not from the books. I never, I use certain terms which can be confusing. I use certain terms like shadow work, and but I use them because I don't have a better term for them. My understanding over those terms is completely different. So I use a term that is known by people to explain something that is completely different from what people understand from the term. And it took me a while to see this. I didn't see it because to me it was normal. I was using like like karma. Karma might be explained in different ways, although there are similarities. And so it's important to use your own judgment in this process, to reflect, to trust yourself, because if you don't, these are the signs of not trusting in your own power, of giving your power away. And the real God created you to have power. You cannot master the journey you are currently in if you give your power away for someone else to tell you what to think, what to feel, how to think, how to believe, what to believe, and so on and so forth. And so we were not created to be submissive. We were not created to be dependent on anyone, not even God. We were created as powerful, independent beings. But this doesn't necessarily mean that by being powerful, we don't have things to learn, because we wouldn't be here otherwise. We all have something to learn, and the earth brings so many lessons with challenges that help us to learn, to grow. Deuteronomy 28:1. If you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully follow all his commands I give you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations on earth. The real God doesn't give a F on on the nations on the earth. It doesn't, because our journey is one that relates to our souls, and it's not about how you control all the nations. This is something that relates to our egos, and the God will not promise you something that will give you power and control and to maybe put other nations in pain, because other nations are still its own children and creation. There is no, as I said, judgment. There is no separation here. God will not love you more than it loves someone else, because it's the parent of everyone. That's why it cannot take sides, and it won't take sides. But if you ask for help, again, the help will not come into millions of dollars. The help will come into clarity to help you to reach your goals. It will come into clarity with ideas that will help you to find solutions for your problems. This is where we have an issue, because we are seeking for God and we are asking God, give me this and give me that, and then it never happened. Why? Because it's not how it works. God is not interfering with the earth energy. I need to make a video about that, but I try to touch more topics about these aspects, about the light, about clarity and awareness, to see the contrast and why what is happening in our religious beliefs and yes, religious beliefs is actually creating more distance in between us and our light, and is creating more postponement in our journey to overcome our lessons, because we are here to learn, we are here to expand, we are here to master our light. It's not about you allowing the fear to control. It's about, and it's not also, it's not about not feeling that fear. It's natural to feel that fear. It's an energy. It fluctuates. The matter is about you bouncing back in your light, not allowing that fear to control you, not allowing the ego to control you. Enlightenment, because many people are speaking about enlightenment, we already are enlightened. It's not about not being enlightened. Enlightenment, it's about our capacity to bounce back into our light, to not allow fear or frustration to dictate our identity, to not absorb it in our system. It's not about not feeling it, it's about not allowing it to control us. But this is again another aspect that relates to our own understanding without fully reflecting onto it. You will be blessed in the city and blessed in the country. The fruit of your womb will be blessed, and the crops of your land and young of your livestock, the calves of your herds, the lambs of your flocks. You see, again, it's a very human-based type of perspective that God doesn't have. God works with energy. It's in energy. Will God understand your experience? Totally, because it connects with your emotions. Right now, when you're watching this video, it knows what you feel, how you feel, and why. It understands every experience you have. It sees your pain. Maybe I'm not seeing it. Maybe I'm seeing only a wall of defensiveness, but God sees your pain. It sees your entire history. It's just not something that God can interfere with, because we take the responsibility here on earth to come here in our journey. And in fact, it's something that we prepare ourselves. It's something that we want as souls. Otherwise, we would be as a water in a cup that is sitting there still. We become stale, just like the water in that cup. We cannot exist by being in the same energy for eternity. We want experiences. Do we want to be challenged? Well, no one wants to be challenged. But challenge is part of growth, because challenge is creating awareness over our true powers. How many times have you thought that, oh, I have this unique talent and skill, until you were challenged to use it? This is what happens on earth. It's not something that God creates, the challenge itself. It's coming as a default of how earth works. And earth works the way that it works because of the energetic layer on which was created. But this is something that I will touch in another topic. I just slightly touch it here because I know that many of you are wondering, oh, but if God is real, why the pain? Yes, I will leave the video here. We can make a study with the text from the Bible. I don't want to get into it. It's not my purpose to study the Bible. It's not my purpose to challenge Christians or to challenge. I mostly address this for those of you who already are ready to deconstruct your belief system when it comes to spirituality, religion, and the divine, and your understanding of the divine. As you will notice on my future content, I will touch topics like why spirit guides are not real, why angels cannot fall. And so it's not something that I'm attacking in regards, I'm not attacking Christianity or Christians, but I don't feel like we connect very well right now. So if you're still not ready to deconstruct your Christianity, this video might not necessarily be for you, because it's triggering, and I completely understand if it's triggering. There is no rush. You don't have to do it right now. You don't have to do it tomorrow. You will do it at your own pace when you will be ready on a consciousness level as a soul. And so when I'm creating these videos, I'm not challenging, or I'm not going against Christianity or another religious. I will actually touch all the discrepancies that I'm finding in all sorts of spiritual aspects and systems. And this will relate with everything. It won't be only Christianity. But the core, the foundation of our understanding has been so instilled onto us, because the majority of us come from a background of Christianity. So, and when we speak about God, we naturally associate it with a God from the Bible. So these topics are necessary for me right now to clarify, because it's not that you are distant from God, it's that you expect from the real God to act like the fake one from the Bible, and you don't communicate with it, you communicate with the God from the Bible. So when you ask for help, oh God, and you are thinking about the God from the Bible, well, regardless of what the real God answers to you, you won't be able to hear it, because it's not coming in a language that you, it's another phone line, you know. So yes, so please note that this is not about debating. It's not what I'm doing here. And in the future, I will cover so many topics that are even more further away, speaking about self-understanding, reconstructing, deconstructing our mindset, reprogramming, healing, and so many other topics. This is just the beginning. And yes, thank you so much for being here with me today. I appreciate you and your presence. And I understand if you feel triggered or challenged in your beliefs. I completely understand. I urge you to take your own time to reflect on what you think, what you believe, and why, and if those beliefs were influenced by anyone of your from your life. If so, why do you agree with them? Why you shouldn't agree with them? Do these small exercises with yourself. Take this time with yourself, because this will help you tremendously. Not immediately, but you'll start to see results on the long term. In a few months, you'll start to see results into your consciousness. And then you will be able to compare with your past self, and you will be in an awe and very surprised over how you see things so differently, and how capable you are to be in charge of your own journey better than in comparison with allowing everyone else to dictate who you are and how to think. Thank you so much again. I wish you a lovely day, and we're going to speak soon.